Hello everyone. Today we have a game from the official Rapid National Chess Championship between myself and Mr. Phulchan Rana, who is a bit underrated at 1700 FIDE. The game starts with the Java London system: d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop f4, a6, main line. Here, my opponent went for a nasty idea where he wants to provoke f3 first, but he didn't know that I like playing this setup with f3, g4, h4. He used a very dubious idea of bishop e6. However, it turned out to be good after I played a bad plan without castling queenside. He developed his bishop on g7. I should have gone for a normal setup with queen d2 and queenside castling, which results in a somewhat Samish type of position where I could go g4 h4. But here I was so fast in castling kingside because I just wanted a solid position against a low rated opponent because I didn't want the game to be a draw. I opened up the center early with e4. I just wanted two pawns in the center, d4 and e4. My opponent was very fast in most of his moves. It was a 15-minute plus 10-second increment game. But as you can see, we both are moving so fast that our clock hasn't decreased from 15 minutes. Here I wanted to play queen d2, but since he had the opportunity to capture the knight directly, I went for h3 to avoid knight g4 ideas later as well. Now he has to capture it, else he has already moved his bishop three or four times in the opening. Now I captured with the knight on c3 because I want a strong center after pushing my pawn on c3. He played a very defensive idea with e6, and now he plays c6. So it's difficult for me to push d5. However, if I just keep developing my pieces in optimal squares, then I think I'll have a slight advantage. When playing against lower rated opponents, you should not be in a rush to go for a checkmate because it leaves so many weaknesses on your side. My opponent played knight to e8. He wants to capture my bishop and put his knight on g7, then later, if possible, on f5. In my opinion, he should have gone for a break in the center with either e5 or c5, but since he didn't find the idea over the board, so I just started doubling up my rooks on the f file. Now my opponent doesn't have many spare moves, so I think that's why he will start trading his pieces. Yes, queen takes h6, of course. Now knight g7. Now moving my a rook to f1 should have been, not natural move, and I should have played it in like 2 seconds, but I took some time. As you can see, still 15 minutes on the clock. We are playing this game like it's a blitz game, not a rapid one. And to remind you, this is the official National Rapid Championship, so every point is vital. Okay, queen e7. He wants to bring his a rook to the e file as well. Now I have to do something else. He will consolidate. So here I decided to change my pawn structure, opening up my bishop on d3, and I hoped he would play knight f5 so that I would get into an ending where I have a slightly better position. Here my queen was attacked. I didn't want to play queen d2, but I think I should have played queen d2, g4, and then went with my queen back to h6. But as you can see, since my opponent was playing fast, I also wanted to do the same. Now, the advantage that I have in this position is my pawn on e5. Now I'm planning to push it somehow to e6, but right now it's not such a good move because there's only one piece supporting the pawn, which is the knight on f4. My opponent looks like he wants to play f6, but if he does so, I will play pawn to e6, and the knight doesn't have good squares to go to, which is why my opponent wants to move his king to h8, rook to g8, and if I play something like e6 later on, he can go for knight f8 and keep on attacking my weak pawn. My plan in that case was to play c4 and d5, but the game turned around in a different direction. During the game, I was looking at my opponent and he was very hasty in making all the moves. So I thought I should take my time now before setting up a trap for him, because if I don't, and if some pieces get traded, it will be very difficult for me to win. Here my opponent is thinking. Of course, he'll go for rook g8. I don't know what he was thinking, but still, it's his time, 15 minutes on the clock. So I'm not blaming him at all. Now, in this position, of course, playing e6 was my plan, so I went for it right away. Here he could have moved the knight as well. But he sees that after his queen moves to f7, he will get to trade some rooks. But you thought of that? That was my plan. After I'll play rook takes e6 and queen f7. In this position, I thought for I think about a minute and a half, because I saw that after rook f to e1, it is not possible for him to play rook to e8. However, I know that my opponent is very fast in his moves. He doesn't like to think, and for him, trading a couple of rooks will result in a very easy, holdable game. That is why I took my time and played rook e8, and within 2 seconds he replied rook to e8 as well. However, now he has fallen into the trap, and I am calculating knight takes g6 check. Here there are two variations, and I need to calculate a bit in depth, because if I don't, it will be a disaster. I took the pawn, he took it with the queen. Again, I thought for a while, because there are two ideas for me. One is rook takes g6, another is queen takes g6. However, rook takes g6 is not good, because he can capture my rook first on e8 with a check, and then later capture um, the rook on g6 again, and I'll have a queen versus two rooks and a knight situation. However, after queen takes g6, he is in a dilemma. He needs to lose an exchange in this position, else what else does he have? I don't see anything. So pawn takes g6 is the only move. But since he had not thought at all during the game, so Phulchan Dai, he took his time, he was resting, and he saw the tactic. I think He was sad that he moved the rook very fast. He should have calculated because 15 minutes is a lot of time. During the game, I was thinking, okay, maybe you should have thought before this move. But as you can see, I played against the opponent's psychology in this game because sometimes all you need to do is remember that you are playing against a human being, and depending on his characteristics, you can send the game into a different direction as well. Okay, after winning the exchange, this was a resulting endgame, and yeah, the pawn would not be stopped. And he resigned because winning with an exchange up is fairly easy task. Good game, Fulchan Dai, and thank you everyone for watching.